Good time zones, my Sakonauts. I'm Sako Tumi, also known as the Witch of Tylwyth Teg, and today we are reading about Cauldrons in The House Witch by Aaron Murphy Hiscock. All right, I'd like to say hello to Spence and Ginny. Thank you guys for being first and second, and damn third. Hi, Jacqueline. I'm so glad that you could make it over. So, if we haven't met before, I'd like to welcome you to my channel. It is very nice to meet you. And if you have been here before, it is so lovely to see you back. I love you guys so much. I'd like to start this morning with a grounding ritual to start your day. This starts in your domain, so if you have not created a domain, you might want to sign up for my newsletter, which is linked in the description below. Sit with your hands in your lap and close your eyes. Take a deep breath in through your nose and hold it for a moment. And as you let it out completely through your mouth, let go of the tension from the night and the grogginess of the morning. Take another deep breath in. As you breathe in, imagine you are breathing in pure love. As you breathe out, imagine you are breathing out forgiveness. Take a third deep breath in, and as you do so, imagine a light coming in at the top of your head. It enters at the top of your head and it spreads down over your face, neck, and shoulders. This cleansing light now expands along your back, down your legs, and out through your feet. It is as if cleansing light is a constant flow of soothing energy entering from your head and passing out through the arches of your feet. You are just outside the door of your domain. The air is crisp and cool. The evergreens sway slightly in the breeze, and the ground has a large patch of moss at your feet. Step barefoot onto the moss. Feel how soft it is. Feel the solid ground underneath. That light coming into your head can now be translated into energy that you can send out your feet. Convert the light into roots and send the roots out the bottoms of your feet and deep into the earth, as deep as you can. The soil is fresh, easy to toil, easy to carve a path down. Feel how anchored you are, how close to the earth. Reach as far down as you can. The earth hugs your roots comfortably, no matter how sharp or curly, no matter how many times they split off. Slowly pull the roots back up the way they came. Your roots slither through the dark, the soil filling in its wake. Pull the roots back into your feet, convert it back to the light, and let the light filter through you and out the top of your head. Take one more deep breath in and begin to wiggle your fingers and toes. When you are ready, open your eyes. Welcome. If you're just joining us, we just did our morning grounding ritual. If you are interested in more meditations like this one, but maybe a little bit more exploratory, you might want to look at subscribing to my Patreon, where I will be releasing 2 a month to help you on your supernatural and spiritual journey. Until then, you can join me for coffee in the mornings right here on YouTube. Hello. Hi, Katerina. Glad you could make it. All right. So for the past couple of days, I've been pulling a tarot card from this deck for you guys. It's a self-care deck. So I don't do... Hi, Raven. Hi, Debbie. Glad you guys could make it. So let's see what this deck says regarding taking care of yourself today. How's the morning treating you guys? Was the write-in productive for you? All right, let's see what's up. The Princess of Swords reversed. All right. That's this Princess of Swords reversed. 6 of Swords. Princess of Swords. Challenging authority with a know-it-all attitude can get old pretty quick. You're bored and in need of mental stimulation to keep up with your rapid-fire thoughts. All talk and no action leads to a distrust between you and your peers. Making promises you cannot keep does not bode well for your reputation, nor aligns with your intentions. Communication is a two-way street. Become aware of how you speak to others, as it may rub them the wrong way, and you can come off as annoying instead of intelligent. Excitement spurs you. However, your energy is scattered when you try to do it all at once. Fear of people judging you can stop you from spreading your thoughts and ideas. Don't let the haters get you down. The world wants to hear what you have to say. All right. That was, trust your intuition. That was your tarot card for the day. It looks like just after 3 p.m. in Scotland. Oh, so had a very productive writing day so far. I would be pleased too. Jeez. Let's see. Raven got some writing done, but didn't feel very productive. Spinning wheels trying to get this story to end. I'm at that point in my flash fiction. It was productive. I had meant to write this morning, so yay. Oh, good. Say my name, card. Well, I feel called to get videos made. Or, don't. All right. So let's talk about cauldrons. We started talking about cauldrons yesterday and how they played into myth all around the world. So let us talk about uses for your cauldron. I enjoyed the company while I made breakfast. That is awesome. Almost done inking the comic page. Definitely productive. That is also wicked. Super wicked awesome. I hope to be just as productive at some point today with my comics. I have lots of work to do. My to-do list is epically long. I should actually make a to-do list of things I've started and things I need to finish, which I sort of did. Sort of. I need to prioritize things today. All right, uses for your cauldron. Be imaginative. The cauldron can be used in several different ways. Here are some suggestions. Oh, wait. Did I read this yesterday? I think I did. I did. Sorry about that, folks. The cauldron as a meditative focus. That is where I left off. Use your cauldron as a meditative focus while saying a prayer or invocation. You can either gaze at the cauldron alone or fill it with water and gaze into it. Here are some ideas for prayers to say before you meditate or to wrap up meditation session. These are only suggestions, so feel free to write and use your own. Cauldron prayer for abundance. As a symbol of abundance, the cauldron really can't be beaten. Abundance encompasses things like prosperity, plenty of food, good friends, a healthy bank account, and so forth. Blessed cauldron, I invoke through thee Undri, the great cauldron of the Dagda, be for me a source of abundance, nourishing energy and strength. Cauldron prayer for inspiration. No matter what our métier, I've never seen that word before, cooking, painting, writing, singing, parenting, answering phones, or driving a bus, there are days when we feel that everything we do is bland or unoriginal. If you feel like you need a bit of supportive inspiration from your spiritual hearth, try calling on Odin's cauldron of poet's mead for a creative pick-me-up. Blessed cauldron, I invoke through thee the cauldron of Odin. Be for me a source of inspiration, that my work at the hearth and in home be motivated by divine insight, handled with sensitive perception, and carried out with poetry. That is actually quite useful to me. I'm not usually one for prayer, like word things when closing up a thing. But we'll see what's up. Cauldron for spiritual renewal. We all need to reinvent ourselves once in a while, especially if our lives feel stagnant or if we feel like we're getting nowhere. This prayer calls for figurative rebirth to help you get moving again. Remember, to be born, you need to give up what you currently have, so this prayer can initiate some changes in life with which you may not be completely comfortable. It can be hard to give up ingrained ways of thinking, even if you know they're holding you back. Blessed cauldron, I invoke through thee the cauldron of Brahm. Wash me clean of what I no longer need, and grant me new sight, new understanding, and new energy to live my life. Cauldron prayer for wisdom. Wisdom differs from knowledge in that it is the accumulation of enlightenment derived from putting knowledge into use, thereby gaining personal experience. Wisdom is what guides us in making decisions related to moral or ethical issues. Blessed Cauldron, I invoke through thee the Cauldron of Cauldron. Be for me a source of wisdom, that I may keep peace, and equilibrium within my house, and that all who step to my hearth know right from wrong. Grant me insight, Blessed Cauldron, and aid me in my daily decisions. All right, now we're talking about types of cauldrons. Early cauldron-like containers were made of dried and hollowed gourds or earthen clay, but as humankind learned how to mine and work metal, it was customary to form cooking vessels of that material. As such, vessels are placed in or near fire in order to heat and cook the contents. In this way, a metal cauldron may be seen as being associated with the symbol of fire, as fire is used to forge Earth's metals, a symbol of water, as the element of water is used to cool it, and a symbol of Earth as the metals were extracted from the Earth. Even more correctly, however, the cauldron may be said to symbolize the interaction of these three elements, and thus is a symbol of transformation. The association of transformation is also derived from the alchemy of cooking that takes place inside the vessel. The metals commonly used to make cauldrons all have their own energies, which contribute to the overall energy within your kitchen. Being aware of what your kitchen tools are made of and the associations of their constituent elements, can lend your spiritual work focus and awareness. This is a brief list of the common metals used for cauldrons and the associated energies. Chapter 8 looks at the energies of the metals commonly used for cauldrons and the other kitchen tools a little more in depth. Brass, often used as a substitute for gold, therefore prosperity, health, fire, and sun energies, protection, attraction magic, deflecting of negativity. Iron and steel, which is my favorite, of course. Grounding, protection, deflecting magic and psychic energy, which I definitely use. Increasing physical strength. Copper, revitalizing, refreshing, healing, kindness, fertility, love, beauty, harmony, friendship, peace, balancing out outgoing and incoming energies, attracting money. Aluminum, travel, communication, mental activity, and flexibility. I have to warn you, please be very careful with aluminum cookware, because there has been a link between aluminum intake and Alzheimer's disease. So try not to use like non-stick pans where the stick part has come off. That is definitely a concern of mine, as Alzheimer's runs in my family. Tin and pewter. Money, business, success, fame and renown, legal issues. Pewter, also, I would not eat or drink from it because it is toxic. Just don't use non-stick pans in general, in my opinion. Yes, I completely agree. Okay, now we were talking about this yesterday when Katerina was wondering how to take care of her cast iron cauldron. All right, here we go. It's important to know how to take care of a cauldron if you wish to have it around for a while. Before you use the cauldron as anything more than a visual symbol, it must be prepared and sealed, a process known as seasoning. New cast ironware is often a dull silvery color, but cast iron that has been used is black. This does not affect the efficiency. Raw cast iron is very porous and it has to be sealed before you use it. This is called seasoning the pot. Make sure to wash your new cast iron pot well with soap and hot water before seasoning it to remove any coating the production company may have put on it. When you buy something nonstick, you're buying something with an expiration date. Absolutely. Abso-fucking-lutely. Make sure to wash your new, if you've bought a secondhand cast iron cauldron at a flea market or garage sale and it's rusty, it can very easily be salvaged. Scrub it down with a steel wool pad. Then wash it well in hot soapy water and season it as directed here. We were talking about yesterday how I do not use my cast iron does not touch my sink. So, all right. Preheat the oven to 250 to 300 degrees Fahrenheit. Step 2, rub the cauldron inside and out with shortening or lard. Vegetable or olive oil usually leaves a somewhat sticky residue, so it says to avoid them. I think we use peanut oil. I don't know. I should ask my husband. He's the one who does it. Set the cauldron on a foil-lined baking sheet and place the sheet in the preheated oven. After 15 minutes, remove the cauldron with pot holders and pour or wipe out any excess grease. It will have melted and collected in the cauldron. Place in the oven and bake for 1 hour. Turn off the oven and allow the cauldron to cool inside. To care for cast iron cookware, clean it while it is still warm by rinsing with very hot water and wiping it out with a paper towel. Make sure it is absolutely dry before you put it away. Some people say you should never use dish soap, but the occasional wash with soap helps break down the food grease that may be left behind, which can go rancid. Never use a scrub pad, as it breaks down the seasoned surface. If you must, scrub the whole pot and then season it again as directed previously. Never allow the pot to sit with residue in it or to stay wet after you rinse it, or it will rust. Steel wool to get rust off is the best way, and hot soap and water before seasoning is fine. We stripped our skillet down completely once and put it in the dishwasher. And this is a very gentle seasoning method. Absolutely. An alternative to washing the cauldron in water is to clean it with salt, which we were discussing yesterday, right? Pour a 1 to 3 millimeter, just under a quarter of an inch, layer of salt in the cast iron pot or pan. Heat it in the stove top or in the oven at a very low temperature for at least a half an hour. The salt will darken from the grease and the dirt it absorbs. Remove from the heat and allow the pan and salt to cool. Use a dry, stiff brush. A brush designed for cleaning works is good. For cleaning woks is good. Under no circumstances do you use steel wool to scrub the salt off. Remember, don't rinse it with water. Finish by wiping the surface down with a paper towel or a soft cloth. I can barely bring myself to cook. Cookware that requires this much effort, I would never be able to manage. The dry salt method ensures that you don't need to worry about making sure the cast iron is bone dry before you store it, and there is no chance of rust. The stored cast iron cookware, to store cast iron cookware, line the inside of the pot with a sheet of paper towel to absorb any moisture and to reduce the chance of rust. I've never heard that. If you have a lid for your cauldron, store it off the pot itself so as to allow the air to circulate freely around it. This also reduces the chance of rusting. All right, I need to go AFK for just a second, for I have had 3 cups of coffee. I shall return. Oh my goodness. Dun, 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 dun. I have returned. Let's see here. Once you find a system that works for you, cast iron requires a lot less effort. Yeah. I rarely worry about storing my cast iron because it gets nearly daily use, right? Exactly. Just the process of finding that system, frankly, sounds too daunting for me to tackle. That's fair. Everybody's got different priorities. I'm a convenience junkie. If it takes more than 20 minutes, I really struggle to do the thing. Yeah. I definitely feel that. Let's see here. Okay, blessing your cauldron. When you acquire a cauldron, it's best to cleanse and purify it before using it for either cooking or as a spiritual symbol or tool. You can adapt the basic room purification ritual in Chapter 7 or create your own. Once the vessel has been purified, you may say a blessing over it, such as this one or another of your choosing, or you may write one of your own. Cauldrons, sacred symbol of rebirth, of transformation and wisdom. Share with me your secrets and insight. May my life be touched by your energy as we work together. Cauldron, I welcome you into my home. Blessings upon you. If you like, you can sprinkle a few fresh or dried herbs and set the pot that represent blessing or welcome to you. If you don't have any connection to herbs or sense an energy like this in any of them, check the appendix for a brief list of suggested herbs and their traditional associations. I don't have control of the kitchen, and we don't have gas anymore. Also, so we really haven't used it much. It is easier to use than the stainless steel. Morning, Tani. Good to see you. Thank you for the smashing of the like. Much appreciated. All right. If you like, let's see, recipe, cauldron cookies. Dare I read this? Apparently you can make cookies in your cauldron. These are fun little treats, are a version of thumbprint cookies. Use the well in the center as a source for whatever you empower, nuts for abundance and fertility, and so forth. Cauldron cookies can be made and empowered with whatever energy you wish to associate with them, such as wisdom, abundance, or spiritual transformation. See Chapter 9 for more information on the spiritual aspect of cooking and using food in spiritual context. This recipe uses cocoa to make a chocolate cookie, which looks more like a traditional dark cauldron. If you wish to make a vanilla cookie, leave out the cocoa and add an extra spoonful or two of flour. Make sure you press your thumb into these cookies very deeply. If you only make a light impression, the cauldron well is lost when the cookie bakes and rises slightly. Alternatively, you may bake them for 4 to 5 minutes, then press your thumb into the cookies carefully as they will be hot, and bake them for the remaining time. And then it's got a recipe for, thumbprints. Yeah. You don't make it in the cast iron. They're just thumbprint cookies that use cocoa to look like little cauldrons. Your physical representation of the spiritual hearth or your kitchen altar or shrine is the perfect place for your ritual cauldron to rest. As the cauldron is one of the focal symbols of hearthcraft, having it within sight while you work is ideal. Glancing at it now and again can help you refocus on whatever your spiritual purpose is, nourishing, loving, protecting, or whatever may be the theme of your work. Yeah, now those cookies sound way less fun. Yeah. Oh, hold on. Very valid. I had more than one argument with my mom when we lived together where I hadn't cleaned the skillet enough and she got soy sauce scrambled eggs for breakfast. Make sure to clean your cauldron out of all psychedelic ingredients before making cookies, or don't and go on a magical mystery cookie tour. Indeed. All right, hearth and home deities. Oh, okay. So let's I'm going to take a peek real quick and see which deities we go through. We go through Hestia. We go through Vesta, Bridget, Samhain, Kamui Fuchi, Kamaro no Kami, Gabija, Ertha, Frigga, Bess, and then household spirits. Oh, brownies, boggarts, hobs, domovoys, tomte, mise, kobolds, offerings to household spirits. Very interesting. This looks like a great chapter. Hearth and home deities. Let's talk about some gods. There are a multitude of deities and spirits associated with the hearth, demonstrating the spiritual importance of this area. The concepts of hearth and home are so completely intertwined that deities associated with one are generally associated with the other. Here, then, is a sample of various hearth and domestic deities from several different cultures. It is by no means exhaustive, nor are the entries complete. Hestia. The Greek goddess of the hearth, Hestia was the deity to whom offerings were made before any other. The saying, Hestia comes first, points to how entrenched she was in the lives and spiritual practice of these people. The Homeric hymn to Hestia says, Hestia in the high dwellings of all, both deathless gods and men who walk on the earth, you have gained an everlasting abode and highest honor. Glorious is your portion and your right. For without you, mortals hold no banquet, where one does not duly pour sweet wine in offering to Hestia both first and last. Despite her first among equals position, Hestia is rarely referred to in myth. There are very few stories involving her, and her behavior is passive when she does appear. She seems to be more of an unembodied ideal than an enfleshed deity, as the other Olympians are presented in stories. This does not mean that she did not play a significant role in the lives of the Greeks. On the contrary, because Hestia was ever present in the form of the home hearth as well as the public hearth, she was understood to be so entrenched in daily life that stories painting her as larger than life were unnecessary. One of the three original Greek goddesses of the first generation of Olympians, Hestia was considered a virgin goddess, not beholden or subservient to any other person or deity. As a hearth goddess, she was associated with the baking of bread and the preparation of meals. Winking at Spence. Identified also with the sacred flame, she was thereby connected to offerings, and she received a portion of every offering made to other gods. Despite not having a formal temple, Hestia was honored by a public altar in the city hall, or the Prytaneum, where an eternal flame was kept lit. Just as the hearth represents the spiritual heart of the private home, the public hearth dedicated to Hestia was considered the heart of the city. When a new town was founded, embers from the public hearth would be carried to kindle the fire in the public hearth of the new municipality, transporting Hestia's essence and protection to bless the new settlement. Likewise, family members establishing a new home elsewhere would bring embers from their home hearth to the new hearth. That is a practice that my camp does. We keep the ashes and the charcoal from the sacred fire. We hold it for a year, and then the next year when we dig a new pit and stuff like that, we basically bless the fire pit with the ashes from the previous fire a year later. You notice I'm smacking my teeth a lot this morning. I'm really sorry about that. Hestia preserves the sanctity of the private home, keeping it a refuge and a place of spiritual renewal. The hearth was considered the spiritual heart of the private home, and the fire in it was not extinguished. If it did go out, rituals of purification and renewal were necessary to relight it. As Hestia was the essence of the home, formalized worship was effectively non-existent. Everyone honored her on an individual basis. Hestia is an example of how holy the hearth and the hearth fire were considered to be, and how sacred the home as temple was for a family. Her presence is symbolized by a flame burning on the hearth or altar. Hestia is rarely portrayed in iconology, for she is understood to be the flame herself. If portrayed, however, she is sometimes shown with a flowering branch, a kettle or a cauldron-shaped pot, or a torch. It is very interesting that Hestia is seen as an old maid or homebody, terms that generally have pejorative or dismissive associations in modern society. It should be remembered that older women were considered wise and experienced and were honored in ancient societies. Vesta. The Roman cognate of Hestia is Vesta, and while performing a similar function and position, Vesta is not precisely equal to the Greek goddess of the hearth. A major difference is that Vesta's worship was formalized, and an order of priestesses served her in formal temples. Vesta's temple housed an eternal flame that symbolized the life and safety of the city of Rome itself. It was guarded and watched over by a group of priestesses dedicated to the service of Vesta called the Vestales, or the Vestals. These priestesses swore to devote their lives to Vesta and thus pledged celibacy for 30 years in order to devote all their energy and time to serving the goddess, giving rise to the descriptive name the Vestal Virgins. I did not know that. Vesta's sacred fire was relit every 1st of March. A sample of the fire was taken and kept safe in a container. After the hearth was cleaned, the fire was lit again from the embers kept safe from the original fire. In this sense, the eternal flame was truly eternal, the essence of the previous year's flame, and all the years before it being passed on in the embers to the new fire. The remains of sacrificial fires in the temple were also considered sacred, and the ashes were collected and stored under the temple until the yearly procession to the Tiber River, where they were thrown in. Vesta's festival was known as the Vestalia and was celebrated from June 7th to June 15th. I'm going to make a note of that. Vestalia is June 7th through 15th. All right. Like Hestia, Vesta's presence is symbolized by a flame burning on an altar or the hearth of the home. Iconology depicts her with a javelin or an oil lamp. Brigid, the much-loved Irish goddess of the home, Brigid is known by other names such as Brid and Brigantia in regions that later became Scotland and Britain. Congratulations, Raven! Celebrate! Oh my gosh. Holy crap. For those who are in the chat that don't know what he is talking about, he has finished his first draft of his novel. So, congratulate Raven for finally finishing a first draft. That is a huge step. Huge step. Take about a month break. Well, I take about a month. Some people take longer, some people take less, but I tend to do it in the middle there, like take about a month, sometimes two, and work on something else, relax, do something that's not that story. That way you can come back to the story with fresh eyes and just do a reread, make some subtle changes as you go, and then you can figure out what structural stuff might need doing. I haven't finished writing the first draft of a novel since I was about 13. He is not 13 anymore. It hasn't been for a very long time. I'm so excited for you, Raven. Jeez Louise. This is a huge step. How do you feel? Yeah, yeah. Meh. Kick ass. Take names. Jeez Louise. Dare I finish reading about Bridget? Congratulations, Raven. You derailed the book reading. Which is not a terrible thing, by the way, because I should be wrapping up anyway, right? So, let's see. Yeah, I can probably finish the thing on Bridget. I wrote that first book by hand in 2 college-ruled spiral notebooks, which got the most cruel critical treatment imaginable. The cats used it as a litter box. Isn't derailing the book reading kind of on brand for me at this point? All right. Oh, goodness. Bridget is known by Brig and Britannia in regions that later became Scotland and Britain. Bridget has 3 aspects: a smith, a healer, and a poet. She is strongly associated with the element of fire and, to a lesser degree, with the element of water. All 3 of her aspects have bearing on the practice of hearthcraft. The smith works with the elemental. What should I draw in the sketchbook today? You should draw a picture of Bridget. How are you with people? Or, if you want, you can do a Bridget's cross. That's like meditative. They're usually made during Imbolc, I think. If it isn't you derailing things, it's me. Indeed. The smith works with the element of fire, which is like the cauldron described in chapter 4, an agent of transformation and transmutation. The smith also makes tools, many of them for home and homestead use, such as cauldrons, hooks, nails, hearth sets, the tools for tending and cleaning the fireplace, fire irons, the metal supports that holds logs and other fuel to be burned, and so forth. Brigid's healing aspect focuses on restoring and maintaining health, one of the areas Hearthcraft also touches, and the poet's inspiration is often symbolized by a flame. I am not people drawer. Oh, finding a style for me that is a miserable process. I'll look up the Bridges cross. Yeah, it's made out of like corn husk or paper. I usually make them out of paper, but you can yeah, look up Bridges cross. I mean, I knew that first book wasn't very good. It was a 138-page space opera written by an angsty 13-year-old, and having it literally shit on it isn't exactly a vote of confidence. Also, those cats must have been mad at you. Brigid has survived into the modern age as a Catholic saint whose areas of influence are certainly related to hearth and home. She is the patron saint of livestock such as sheep and cattle, dairy products such as milk and butter, as well as workers in the dairy industry, including milkmaids and dairymaids. Children, poultry farmers, midwives, poets, and blacksmiths. Her many associations with house and home make her a very popular goddess with whom to work. Brigid was worshipped both as a goddess and later as a saint by a circle of 19 priestesses or nuns who tended an internal flame. On the 20th day, the flame was said to survive without anyone visibly tending it, lending to the belief that the goddess herself tended the flame that day. We'll get into Asian gods of hearth and home tomorrow. Oh, stretchy stretch. Oh. So what do you intend on doing for today? I need to reprioritize my projects and figure out what I need to work on today. Probably drawing. I'm really behind on drawing. And I just got a bunch of almost 1,000 photos that I need to go through, and half of them are like fuzzy and out of focus, and it was an all-day shoot and used three memory cards. One is 1 gig, one is 4 gig, one is 32 gig. Working on my book 2 outline. That is amazing. Need one of those in my house. What, the book or Bridges Cross? Usually we make them for in bulk, which is February 2nd. It is a symbol of the coming light. Resting and taking care of bills. We can talk about your character today if you like. Laundry, clean my bathtub, still have to do my weekly divination guidance, and maybe prepare my budget for this week's paycheck. Right on. Right on. I need more drink. Yeah, the Bridges Cross. You can make it out of anything. I do it out of paper. What we did not last year, but the year before, was we took flour, like seed paper that had like flower seeds in them and stuff, so that you could make the Bridget's Cross and then bury it, and you would have wildflowers, which is going in the sketchbook today. Yeah, good times. Okay, so I no longer have to talk about my training stuff. I did a 3-day workshop on how to work with spirits. If you are interested in such things, please be coming to my channel and looking at that stuff. I'm working on an outline for Vampire Christmas Romance. Yay! Plus doing some work for the super secret project. Also, yay! Cleaning the house, being a mom, etc. Doing the things. Especially since you took yesterday off, right? Right? If you liked this video at any point, please hit the like button. And if you would like to see what is in the rest of this book, especially since tomorrow we're talking about Asian hearth gods and goddesses, and spirits, because they talked about kami, and kami are spirits, not gods. Then please subscribe. Maybe even hit that bell, just on the case that it might notify you whenever I go live or I do upload a video or whatever. I have another thing. If you're interested in supporting me, I do have a Patreon, which is linked in the description. And I will catch you guys on the flip side. The flip side being my Discord server, basically. Later, folks.